Last weekend's massacre in Orlando has left our entire nation feeling numb. So many lives taken by a deranged man who pledged his allegiance to ISIS and expressed his hatred of gays, as reports surfaced that he may have been gay himself. Police said Omar Martin sounded cool and calm in 911 calls he made during the shootings. Now, we've had days to study the background of this deranged man, and the question has been raised whether he was mentally ill. Good to have with us Dr. Robi Ludwig, a renowned psychotherapist who has just authored this book, Your Best Age Is Now, a guide to help women deal with midlife crisis. We'll get to that book in a moment, but first, Robi, good to have you with us.
Good to be here.
Let's talk about this man.
Yeah.
He passed, for his employer, had a psychological test. He passed above average. A co-worker said this guy was unhinged, unstable. Police said he was cool and calm during the shootings. He did things on Facebook, called friends.
Yeah.
What do you make? Was this pure evil, or was this a man suffering from some mental disorder?
It really is a very interesting question, Marvin, because this is a person who was raised to hate. If we look at his father was from Afghanistan and was a supporter of the Taliban, which supports Sharia law. And Sharia law is very strict about who's a believer and who's a non-believer. If you talk to this man's high school friends, if you will, they weren't really friends, after 9/11, this was a man who was reenacting the planes going into buildings and was laughing at the horror of what went on that day. So the seeds of hating Americans and hating what America stands for goes back early on.
Now, reports have surfaced in a number of incidents suggesting that he himself was gay and he attacked a gay club. Now, he wanted to kill Americans, but he selected gay Americans. Is this an act of someone of self-hatred?
Yeah, I guess more will surface in terms of his personal life, but it certainly was a crime of hate attacking the LGBT community. And again, if we think about Sharia law and how they view gays and Jews and women, if you are a non-believer, if you don't follow the rules of the law, then you're dehumanized and you're deserving of being killed. You're deserving of death. It's a very different mindset. And so I'm very careful when I say, oh, this is due to mental illness, because I work with mentally ill people all the time in my practice. Some medicated, some not. They're not killing people. Okay, having a mental illness and being violent don't always go together. So while the studies show in terms of the lone wolf profile, and they're very hard to profile, and this particular study looked at 15 different countries, they found that they tend to have personality disorders, which is more of an antisocial personality disorder, which is a moral pathology. They know right and wrong, but they don't care, and depression. So they're very intelligent, but oddly related and don't really connect to the people around them. So very often kind of have these rageful episodes. And when it comes to the radicalization, people who align themselves with ISIS, especially those in this country, they want to prove that they are religiously fit, that they are in sync with the ISIS message. And that very often is what triggers this kind of huge spree killing, if you will.
But what ISIS has been doing with the very slick propaganda videos they've been putting out, those who have that kind of a background and mindset are easily pulled into the fold, aren't they?
That's right. And those who like the idea of right and wrong, black and white, don't like the idea of gray, are also drawn into this. But I think we do have to look at this man's father and the relationship that they have. I think, you know, it's interesting.
He was an activist himself. Yes.
The father was an activist, and he said, my son was always a good son. I was very proud of him, and I'm sure this son was a good son. I think he really wanted to please his father and may have enacted maybe something the father couldn't.
Let me ask you this. The wife, she's being questioned. She apparently drove with him, saw things, was with him when he bought some of the ammo. How can a wife stand by and knowing your husband is talking about mass killing and not say anything? What's the psychology of that?
Well, if the psychology is survival, if you say something you're going to get killed, then it's survival. I mean, this man was an abusive husband. He was abusive to his first wife. These wives don't have power. They don't have the rights that normal wives in America have. So she might have felt threatened and in danger.